Zion Williamson is only 20 years of age and already looks like a once-in-a-generation type of talent. The issue is that he plays for the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that is notorious for not knowing how to build around once-in-generational type of talents. Going way back to Chris Paul being unable to win a championship with him, leading up to a few seasons ago, and the whole debacle with Anthony Davis, and now it appears that Zion, at only the age of 20, man, is already upset with the direction of the team. According to multiple sources, him and his family want him to be traded. Yo, what's going on, guys? Christy Flakes here. So we have an extremely interesting story to talk about today. Something that I really think is going to shed some light and expose the entire organization of the New Orleans Pelicans. But before we get going on that, guys, remember, man, we are so close to 300,000 subscribers here on this channel. There's a good portion of you guys that watch the videos are not subscribed. If you don't mind hitting it, man, help me get that 300K would be greatly appreciated. And of course, the like goal is always 1,000 likes, so be sure to hit that like button. But alrighty, man, so it's been reported this morning by The Athletic that Zion Williamson and his family is not happy with the organization. They actually want him somewhere else. So this is the actual official quote. The New Orleans Pelicans have been unable to put together the right elements to make Zion Williamson and his family happy, per The Athletic. Multiple sources have told The Athletic that certain family members want Williamson on another team. Flush face. That last part was an emoji, but it says flush face on my script, man. But yes, so obviously they're not happy with him there, and I can't really say that I blame them, man. In my opinion, you know, the Pelicans, they're kind of like getting this reputation of being that new garbage management ran type of team out there, man. You know, for a while there it was the New York Knicks, but they seem to really have, you know, flipped things around. But we all know that bad management can just absolutely destroy a franchise. It can just put you in a place where it could take you years and years and years to get out of. And even when you're out of it, you know, you still have to convince NBA players that they want to pick your team out of the other 29 teams in the NBA to sign with, right? So it can be a very bad circumstance. I mean, I think a prime example is already looking at Anthony Davis a few seasons ago when he was on the Pelicans. They did a horrible job of building around him. Yes, the circumstance with like DeMarcus Cousins was not great and everything, but when it comes down to it, outside of like going for Boogie, they just did a bad job. I mean, it was Anthony Davis putting up these godly stats every single night, and that was pretty much it. Then obviously he had injuries and everything, and really the point where they got him over to the Lakers, I will say it was not all the Pelicans. I also think that Anthony Davis, you know, the way he handled that definitely could have been a lot better, but it's just a good circumstance, just a good like pinpoint to be like, okay, this is kind of where some of the shady stuff is kind of happening, right? Then you also have to look at JJ Redick, who was traded to the Dallas Mavericks, man. The management actually told JJ Redick, I watched it in his podcast, saying that they were going to trade him to the East Coast. That's where his family's at, that's where he wanted to be, and they ended up trading him to the Dallas Mavericks. Just not a cool thing to do, not, you know, to tell a guy you are going to trade him. And I understand it's a business, but just be real about it, you know, like to tell it to the guy, be like, well, we have to do what's best for the team. We understand what your wants and needs are, but to tell him he's going out east and then trade him to the Dallas Mavericks, just completely garbage moves to do by the management, right, man? But also a lot of this stems around, you know, David Griffin himself. I just think that David Griffin is just bad at his job. He's bad at building around superstar players. I mean, this is a guy that had Anthony Davis. He now has Zion Williamson. He's a guy that had LeBron James, man. He was actually named to his position. Well, he was part of the organization of the Cleveland Cavaliers a little bit before, you know, LeBron did the whole like decision thing and went elsewhere. But when it comes down to it, he was still like part of the decision-making process and, you know, in charge of getting a prime LeBron James, the likes of like an old aging Antoine Jameson, Shaquille O'Neal, you know, Daniel Gibson, guys like that, just bad building around superstar players. And we can already see that very early on happening with Zion Williamson and the Pelicans, man. Like, this team definitely did not live up to expectations. It was horrible. A lot of that started with Stan Van Gundy, who was, of course, you know, recently fired. I feel like they're trying to, you know, as much of a problem that Stan Van Gundy is as a coach, and just like his style, at the same time, they are trying to like scapegoat him too and be like, well, we got rid of Stan Van Gundy. I think it goes beyond the head coach. You know, you have to look at the management that made the decision to bring that coach in the first place. And then you got to look at the overall like team direction. Like, what did they do early on this season and last offseason that might already point towards bad choices being made? I mean, they brought in Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe, for one, is just like not a great point guard, but he's also not a great point guard to put alongside Zion Williamson. You know, to compare Zion's style of play, a guy that attacks the inside, can kind of shoot the three-pointer, but doesn't shoot it too often. Very similarly to another guy who was playing with Eric Bledsoe before, Giannis Antetokounmpo. That did not work out. So I don't know why they thought that Eric Bledsoe would work out with Zion Williamson. Not to mention they already have Lonzo Ball on the team. But even with having Lonzo Ball, Lonzo and Zion, guys like that are guys that need to be running up and down the court. And just like the overall pace of the Pelicans was just piss poor, man. So you got that right there. They brought in Steven Adams, who was, Steven Adams is a great center. Like, he does his job well. A lot of the stuff that he does great does not really show up on the box score. But at the same time, he's still not worth all that money he's getting paid. So that already makes no sense next to a guy like Zion Williamson. So you got to go there. And then you also got to look at, like, who's the second guy to Zion on the team going forward? Who's the guy they're looking at as like, hey, like, this guy's going to be a future superstar too, already an all-star player, in Brandon Ingram. I think Brandon Ingram is a really good basketball player. I don't think Brandon Ingram is the right, guy to have alongside Zion. I just feel like their style of play just don't really mesh well. And there's some better opportunities out there really for both of those guys. So, I just think overall the direction of the team and how they're putting guys around Zion, just very early on, man. I'm going to assume that his family, they probably know some damn basketball, right? So they probably see these warning signs. They already saw what happened with JJ Redick and Anthony Davis and everything, and they're just like seeing and being like, hey, like, we don't want to waste Zion's career at all. We want our guy Zion. We want, our family member here to be one of the greatest of all time. So we don't want him to waste his time, with piss poor management. So let's get him the hell out of New Orleans and get him somewhere else. So that obviously leaves, two different choices. One choice being, okay, maybe you just fire the management and you get a different team in there that can build around Zion in a different way. And this is how I would personally build around Zion. Now, obviously, you want some shooters around him. I've been saying for a while they need to get a guy like Miles Turner at the center position, somebody that doesn't clog up the paint but also brings some defense to the team. Lonzo Ball, I still think is a perfect point guard next to Zion, but only in the right style of, a quick pace offense. You want to get some shooters out there, some 3-and-D guys, players similar maybe to like Mikal Bridges or guys along those lines, man. So, just you don't want these big centers clogging up the paint like Steven Adams. You don't want these point guards like Eric Bledsoe expected to play the shooting guard spot with Lonzo. It's just completely weird, man. So, that's one option, is to just clean house, and maybe that'll make Zion happy, because I don't think like New Orleans is like a bad place, right? Like it seems like it's a lot of fun. I think they got some good food. I don't really know much about it, man, but overall it seems like a play. It's not like, I hate to say it, it's not like the Detroit Pistons, right, man? Now I personally love Michigan and Detroit and stuff, but I could see where like a big Hollywood style superstar would not want to play in Detroit. Like, I understand that, man. It's just me being a realistic fan and everything, right? So then you got to look at this. Okay, let's assume that there's nothing they can do to repair the relationships with Zion and his family. Then obviously you got to look to trade him. And I was over on Twitter and talking about this and stuff, and people were saying like, well, as long as he doesn't go to like an already like super team out there, I'm cool with him getting traded. But with that being said, for Zion to go to like a big time team, like, let's just throw a name out there, let's say the Lakers or even the Knicks, it would take so much to get Zion that the team would be completely gutted, especially the Lakers. You cannot do it, which would be ironically funny if, both Anthony Davis and Zion ended up on the Lakers. But, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they have enough trade pieces, man, to be honest, unless you're giving Anthony Davis back, but that would just be awkward for everybody. And LeBron's a bit too old to trade straight up for Zion at this point. So, yes, I think the circumstance is going to be he's going to go to a team that have like the youth and like the draft picks, which, the Knicks do. The Knicks do have pieces to get them, but one of those big pieces like Julius Randle, who was on the Pelicans before, once again, would be awkward for everybody, right? So I have a few different teams in mind. These are teams that I think, are just young, upcoming, have the draft picks in some cases, have some young players to get them on the team and stuff, and maybe something that can be happening. Some of these teams are better than others. The first team I would love to see is the Memphis Grizzlies. Just the idea of Ja Morant playing with Zion Williamson just really excites me. Like, that would be absolutely beautiful basketball to watch, and those guys' career could grow together, and they can become, they could become damn, Kobe and Shaq out there, right? Like, they could be like the new era of Kobe and Shaq. So I would absolutely love to see that. I feel like those guys are perfect. And I don't really have trades listed out because, like I said, I don't know the going rate for Zion. I'm going to say it's going to be a lot. So you're probably looking at giving up like Jaren Jackson, draft picks, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane, all that stuff to get them. So you're giving up a lot to get Zion, right, man? But to team up those two guys would be phenomenal. Another team I would love to see him go to is the Chicago Bulls. They got guys like Patrick Williams they could trade away. They got draft picks and everything, and Kobe White and Lauri Markkanen, the sign trade, players like that. I feel like a player like Vucevic would be nice next to Zion, but also if they could keep Zach LaVine, you could hope they could in that case. That's a nice time big three. Like that's a lot of fun and just really engaging and would be exciting for the game of basketball. Another team that I don't really think have enough trade pieces to get them would be the Dallas Mavericks, and this is more so just to keep Luka Doncic happy because he's obviously upset with the franchise right now too, as they just fired the GM dude out there. I forgot what his name was, Donnie, I think his name was, or something like that. But, to get Zion in that case, and you're looking up giving up like Kristaps Porzingis, which I'm sure the Mavericks fans are cool with, but Porzingis by himself is not really enough to get Zion at all, actually. And I don't think the draft pick situation of the Dallas Mavericks is very good at the moment. So I don't think that's happening. But the idea of Luka with Zion, once again, man, would be absolutely perfect. Another team I like is the Denver Nuggets. They got guys like Michael Porter Jr. they could trade away. But what I like here is the idea of Zion playing that 4 spot next to Jokic, because we all saw how great Jokic made Aaron Gordon. Maybe not so much in the playoffs, but when he first got there, man, just like the slashing ability, the athletic ability of Aaron Gordon. So you have that with Zion now times a billion, and that just seems like a perfect fit, especially if they could also keep like Jamal Murray in that case. That's just a big three that's going to be around for a very, very long time. And the final team is a team that I don't really think should be, thinking about this stuff right now, because they're obviously trying to win a championship, man. And that's the Atlanta Hawks. I just don't think they really need to be talking about it. But once again, the idea of Trae Young with Zion Williamson seems absolutely perfect, and there's so many great young players in that team that they might have enough to get it done, guys. So those are a few of the teams out there. I think when it comes down to it, it's going to take, either a superstar Bradley Beal type of player to get Zion, or it's going to take a whole bunch of young players and a whole bunch of draft picks. But man, I really don't know where this story's going to go. I really don't, man, because it's just not good that you got this 20-year-old, 27-point per game scorer already, kind of with like a foot out the door. Even if he sticks around for a while, it's still going to be at the back of the mind saying like, ooh, like once that extension period comes around, this guy might be gone. So just not good overall, man. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thank you all so much for enjoying the content, watching the content. I really do appreciate it. And peace out, my friends.